Let me first speak to the process, if I may. Notice of the public hearings in this matter was posted on or about March 8th of this year. The public, therefore, was given at best 7 days advance notice of the first hearing, perhaps less. We do not believe that time period is adequate under state law. We have submitted papers arguing that a minimum of 30 days advance notice is required, and we await your decision in that regard. As of the date of the first hearing, which was March 14th, CNE had not submitted a written plan regarding the closing, and I quote, "in form and content acceptable for review by the department." Those are the department's words. They are not my words. We ask, therefore, that the public hearings be rescheduled for a later date. The department denied our request. By insisting that the hearings go forward as scheduled, the department necessarily forced the public to comment on a closure plan that did not exist at the time of the hearings, and as far as I know, still does not exist. I ask you to consider for a moment the disadvantage to the public. The public had 1 week at best to prepare to comment on a non-existent plan to close the birthing center. That is not how our democracy works. The public comment period so far cannot possibly be considered legitimate in this context. And indeed, once the department has determined that the application is complete, the written plan, the public should be given adequate notice and another opportunity to comment, this time on the actual plan. Allow me to speak now to New England's violations of the Hospital Conversion Act and the corresponding regulations. We have submitted papers arguing that CNE violated state law and regs by repeatedly announcing the closing of the birthing center prior to these proceedings, and Madam Director, getting your and the department's prior approval. Obviously, the department is yet to render a decision on the closure. That, however, did not and has not stopped New England from repeatedly telling the staff that the birthing center was going to close on a date certain. On March 1st, for example, prior to Dr. Dacey's grossly inadequate submission of March 2nd, CNE informed the staff that the floor would be closed on March 14th. 2 days later, on March 3rd, CNE informed the staff that the floor would close on March 17th. On that very same day, you, Madam Director, issued an order prohibiting New England from closing the floor, rightfully, prior to getting the department's approval. On March 4th, however, New England, in defiance of your order, informed the staff that the floor would close on March 18th. And in yet another act of defiance on March 5th, New England informed the staff that the last patient would be admitted on March 16th. Imagine for a moment being a New England employee during this time. Going home to your family 4 times in a 5-day period to tell your family that you're going to lose your job. Imagine for a moment being a provider during this time. What are you supposed to say to your patients? You're going to deliver your baby at the birthing center? You're not going to deliver your baby at the birthing center? Imagine for a moment being the patient during this time, not knowing where you're going to go for your care, and arguably the most important point of impact in your life. What kind of public institution conducts itself in this fashion? CNE has turned people's lives upside down here. They have nothing short of being cold and callous, irresponsible, perhaps negligent. They have to be held accountable to this community, and we await your decision as to whether or not there will be consequences for their violations of the Hospital Conversion Act. I move to their violations.
Excuse me, would wrap up with minutes.
I will wrap up, thank
I'd
you.
like to hear it.
A little attitude would be appreciated. I'll move swiftly. I turn to their violations of Dr. Fine's decision with conditions of June 26, 2013, when he allowed the affiliation of Memorial and New England to go forward. I quote from page 18 of the decision: "No elimination of clinical services is envisioned during the first 3 years after the formation of the new hospital." We're not at 3 years yet, Madam Director. I quote from page 64 of the decision that speaks to a balanced healthcare delivery system. one that provides an optimal mix of primary care services within a defined geographical area. Such a system would enable patients to receive care in their own communities, not down in Woolworth and not down in Providence, here in Central Falls and Pawtucket and this catchment.
Yay! Woo!
I quote from page 18 of the decision. CNE will finance Memorial Hospital's operating shortfalls through September 30th, 2016. And I quote again from page 69 of the decision. Conditions set forth above shall be enforceable and have the same force and effect as if imposed as a condition of licensure. Conditions set forth above shall be enforceable and have the same force and effect as if imposed as a condition of licensure. CNE's request to close the birthing center at the earliest opportunity, in the words of Mr. Dacey in his filing of March 2nd, represents a gross violation of each and every one of these conditions and cannot be permitted. We await your decision on this issue and expect you to force these conditions, Madam Director. In summary, the community should be given at least 30 days advance notice to comment on K&W's plan to close the birthing center, a complete plan. Minimum 30-day notice should run from the date that the department determines the application is submitted complete, no sooner. The department should schedule an evidentiary hearing on an expedited basis to get at the issue of K&W's violations of the HCA and the corresponding regulations. If you do not do this, Madam Director, nobody will. The department should schedule a hearing on an expedited basis to get at the issues of K&W's violations of the Director's 2013 decision. Again, Madam Director, if you do not do this, nobody will. Indeed, the department should slow this whole process down so as to prevent K&W from going forward with a botched plan to close this birthing center. Thank you.